Gente, eu acho que eu acabei de deixar a resposta do som. Olha isso ali em cima das árvores, gente. Olha lá.
What you're about to hear is not a story from the 1950s. It's not a blurry photograph taken by a stranger. It happened on May 31st, 2026. And the man who witnessed it was completely alone, deep in the Brazilian wilderness, with no one to call.
Meu Deus, o que é isso? Gente, eu acabei de ver de novo. Ele acabou de passar aqui. Meu Deus, gente, é enorme.
Before we get to what he saw, and trust me, we're going to get there, you need to understand who this man is, because that matters more than anything else in this story. His name is Mayk Leão. He lives in a place called Unidentified, a rural settlement outside the small city of Campo Largo, deep in the interior of Paraná, a southern state in Brazil. There are no streetlights out there, no neighbors within easy reach. Now I want you to hold that image for a second. This is not a man with a high-tech camera setup, a YouTube studio, or a reason to fabricate anything. He documents everything, every single day. His routine starts at 4 in the morning and rarely ends before 9 at night. He posts it all, the mud, the animals, the exhaustion, to his social media. He is not a man who exaggerates. He is a man who works. And then came May 31st. The day started wrong. Mayk noticed it before he even fully stepped outside. His animals, all of them, were agitated in a way he had never seen before. And Mayk has spent his entire life around animals. He knows every sound they make, every pattern of behavior. What he was hearing that morning was different. The guinea fowl and the hens were screaming. And not just any kind of noise. Mayk described it as an alarm siren. It's the sound his animals make when something foreign has entered the property. Something that doesn't belong.
Ó. Gente, tem algo lá embaixo. Ó, os cavalos estão olhando os dois pra lá, ó. Ó. Estão vendo ali? Deixa eu colocar o zoom pra vocês verem, ó. Ó os animais agitados. Estão escutando o alerta? Esse ali é o alarme de perigo das aves.
He armed himself with a bow and arrow, called his dog Billy, and went to investigate. At the far edge of his property, near an old shack, every single one of his animals was facing the same direction. All of them, staring. Silent now, except for that sound. Mayk called out into the distance. If someone is there, show yourself. If you don't, I will shoot. What he found, initially, was a man fleeing on a motorcycle. Not unusual. Mayk explained that travelers sometimes stop near the road's edge to pick fruit from his trees.
Olha, gente, saiu um cara de moto ali. Será que era ele que os bichos estavam vendo e avisando? Enfim, gente, não sei se era o cara da moto, mas tinha gente lá embaixo, sim, lá nos pinheiros, ali do lado da casa da minha mãe. Não sei se alguém foi catar pinhão ou pegar um pão-cã, mas tinha gente dentro do terreno, sim. Os animais não mentem, né, gente? Eles são muito sensitivos, eles são treinados, bem dizer, pra isso. Olha, tudo que eles veem de estranho, eles entram em modo de alerta, né? Eles avisam quando tem algo, então... Vocês viram o escândalo, né, gente? Eles não fazem aquilo à toa, ainda mais todos, principalmente os cavalos, que são muito inteligentes. Então tinha alguém sim dentro do terreno. Eu acho que tava, se tiver, ainda tá lá nos pinheiros lá embaixo. Que eu dei uns berros aqui, falei que ia atirar, e daí teve uns barulhos lá embaixo. Eu acho que tinha gente, sim, gente, com certeza. Agora o que estavam fazendo aqui eu não sei, né? Mas tinha gente ali nos pinheiros, na casa da minha mãe, com certeza.
But even after the man was gone, the animals didn't calm down. So Mayk kept walking. And that's when he noticed the sky. He commented on it, in real time on his stories, that the sky looked different that day. Unusual aircraft, contrails where he had never seen them before, and what he described as fighter jets, military aircraft, flying over a region where that simply does not happen.
Mas muitos aviões, isso nunca aconteceu. Tipo, só aqui tem, ó, 1, 2... 3, 4, 5, 6. Olha lá, tem um fazendo agora. Ó, gente. Que estranho isso. Vocês estão vendo? Pera aí, deixa eu puxar aqui pra vocês verem. Ó. Ali, ó. Um risco ali. Tá acabando de ser feito, ó. De um avião. Daí tem outro em cima. Aí aqui tem outro grandão, ó. Pera aí, ó. Passa aqui. Aí aqui tem outro. E ali tem outro.
He kept walking. Toward the tree line. Toward the place where his property meets the edge of the dense forest. And there, he found something that stopped him cold. His electric fence, the fence that runs along the boundary of his land, the one that protects his animals, had been torn from the ground. Not cut, not broken, lifted. Something tore that fence out of the ground, and whatever it was still out there. If you're new here, this is Curious People Archive. We follow cases like this one, the ones that don't make the headlines, the ones that should. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what comes next, because what comes next is much worse. He decided to reset the fence and deal with the structural repair another day. But then he heard it. A sound coming from inside the forest. Let me be very clear about what I mean when I say that. Mayk Leão grew up on this land. He has lived in rural Brazil his entire life. He has heard every animal, every insect, every environmental sound that forest has to offer. He knows what a jaguar sounds like. And he was terrified of encountering one that day, because a jaguar can kill both his animals and him. This was not a jaguar.
Gente, tem algo rosnando. Meu Deus do céu. Ai, gente, tem algo aqui. Senhor. Vamos, Billy, venha. Ó. Senhor Jesus, gente, vocês estão escutando?
He had never heard this sound before in his life. In his stories, which are still up and you can hear it clearly, he is audibly disturbed. His voice changes. His eyes change. He and Billy ran, and then, this is the part that I need you to really sit with. The sound followed them. Not through the forest, not from a distance. It appeared almost instantly right in front of his house, without a visible source.
Meu Deus, o que é isso? Não é nenhum animal meu, gente. Vocês escutaram?
Mayk described it as something like a rope snapping or wood splintering, but vocalized, rhythmic, with clicks.
Gente, eu tô entrando em parafuso. Vocês viram que é tipo um... como se fosse alguém engasgado, mas tá aqui do lado. Como se fosse uma corda arrebentando. Sabe, tipo, gente, quando tem uma corda puxando. Mas, gente, é muito alto. Agora tá aqui do lado. Meu Deus, eu tô morrendo de medo. E os animais estão bem tranquilos. Tipo, não tá assustando eles. Gente, não é possível. Vocês devem ter escutado no outro stories. É como se fosse um rosnado, mas parece uma corda esticando. Gente, eu não sei o que eu acabei de gravar, mas foi muito louco, tá? Gente, olha, eu vou mostrar pra vocês verem, ó. Não tem nada de equipamento na minha casa ligado, tá? Ó, tá tudo desligado. TV aqui, ó. Rádio. Não tem nada coisado, gente. Não tem nenhum som tocando, nada. Não é de dentro da minha casa isso, gente. É aqui fora.
The day didn't end there. As the sun went down over the hills and the dense forest surrounding Mayk's property, he kept filming, kept documenting. He didn't leave. He didn't call anyone in a panic. He stood his ground, because those are his animals, and that is his land. And then the lights appeared. In a region that has nothing but hills and thick, unbroken forest in every direction, Mayk began to see something that should not have been there. an enormous sequence of brilliant, glowing lights. Not one light, not two, a formation, a structure, hovering over the hills near what he identified as the Açungui River, roughly a mile from his position. For approximately 1 hour, Mayk broadcast this object in real time on his stories. 1 hour. The object was massive. It was surrounded by small, delicate lights that Mayk described as every color of the spectrum. And when researchers later overlaid the nighttime footage with a daytime photograph of the same location, what became clear is that this colossus, whatever it was hovering over a hill in the middle of dense, protected forest. No road access, no infrastructure, no explanation. And then it went dark, gone, just like that.
Ele tá apagando. Ele tá apagando, gente, ó. Tá como se perdesse potência. A luz tá ficando bem fraquinha, ó. Apagou.
Before we continue, if this story is getting under your skin the way it got under mine, leave a like. It tells us that cases like Mayk's deserve to be taken seriously. And if you want to be here when the next one surfaces, subscribe to Curious People Archive. Now, because this story isn't over, there was silence on Mayk's farm, and then it came back. This time, directly over his house. Mayk panicked. He later admitted that in that moment, he could not film. His hands weren't working the way he needed them to. What he could do was look and remember.
Gente, tá acontecendo de novo. É vermelho. Gente, eu acabei de ver de novo. Ele acabou de passar aqui. Meu Deus, gente, é enorme. Gente, eu tô com muito medo. Gente, acabou de passar aqui. Caramba. Uau, gente, era gigante. Meu Deus, gente. Gente, eu tô horrorizado. Gente, era muito grande.
He described the object as thin, delicate, shaped, he said, like an eye, surrounded by brilliant, multicolored lights along its edges, and beneath it, beneath the craft, something that he compared to a glowing red exhaust port, like the incandescent output of a turbine, a deep, burning red against the black sky. He estimated its length at between 130 and 200 feet. He was standing beneath it. Eventually, finally, he regained enough composure to raise his phone. By then, the object was moving away. What he captured was a small, blinking point of light, disappearing into the vast darkness of the rural night. But it was real. He saw it. His camera recorded it leaving. In the hours that followed, Mayk did something that I find deeply compelling. He sat down and drew what he saw. A rough sketch of the craft, its shape, its lights, its proportions.
Gente, a nave é assim. Isso aqui é a parte de baixo, aqui tinha uma bola vermelha e ela é todinha cheia dessas bolas redondas. É isso aqui. Eu vi isso aqui. Em formato de um olho, assim. E era enorme, tinha uns 70, 80 metros de comprimento. No mínimo isso daí.
Now, let me tell you why this case is different from so many others. Mayk Leão has no reason to lie. He lives miles from the nearest town on a dirt road, hauling creek water for his animals, working 18-hour days. His social media following existed long before May 31st, built on videos of rescued goats and muddy boots, not alien encounters. The region itself tells a story. No infrastructure, no airports, no military installations that would explain what was in that sky. Just farms, separated by miles, inhabited by people who have spent their lives growing food and raising animals. And yet, on that night, something was there. The animals heard it first. The fence was lifted from the ground. A sound unlike anything a lifelong rural farmer had ever heard emerged from the forest. And for 1 full hour, an object the size of a building hovered silently over the hills near the Açungui River. We are not here to tell you what it was. What we can tell you is this: if a moment is coming, a moment when the question of whether we are alone in this universe is answered not by a government press conference or a scientific journal, but by a man standing barefoot in the dark with his dog and his bow and arrow, filming what he can and drawing the rest from memory, that moment may be closer than any of us expected.